Assalamu alaikum, my name is Taimur Sikandar and welcome to the part 2 of onboarding screen, and let's quickly run the application. As in the part 2 we have created a splash screen, and now in the part 3 of the app, City app, we are currently in our onboarding screen. And so far we have designed this onboarding slider, and we also have designed this main screen with the let's get started button. So in this tutorial we are going to hide this button, and we'll see this button only at the last screen with some animations. And then also we are going to add a skip button at the top. And the main thing we are going to do is we are going to use the shared preferences, so the user can only see these onboarding slides for the first time or for the one and only time, not again and again. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to remove that top status bar. So to remove that status bar, write get window dot set flags and write window manager dot layout params dot flag full screen, comma, and copy this line, and after the comma paste it again, and the status bar will be gone. Okay, the next thing we want to do is, as we have reached we have created the dots and in this function. Okay, so open that on page change listener function, and where the page is selected. So in here what we want to do is we want to hide the specific button, which is the let's get started button, and its ID is get started button. The first thing is we want to create its hooks. Let's get started button, and in the hooks write let's get started is equal find view by ID r dot id dot get started button. Okay, next thing is go back to on page selected, and in here we are just right, if the position is equal to 0, as we have 4, so we will it will be counted like 0 1 2 and 3. So if the position is 0, else if the position is equal to 1, I am just going to write these all cases. Else if the position is equal to 2, and then in the else we have yes, that's it. We have 0 1 2 and the last one is 3. So alt control L to align the code. Okay, what if the position is 0? We do not want to show that button, so the button is let's get started dot set visibility. You can write the gone will also remove the space, so set invisible view dot invisible, copy this one and paste. Okay, in here at the else we don't want to hide that button, but we want to make it visible, and make sure by default it should be hidden. So go to the button and search for the visibility, and it will be invisible. You can see it is taking its place, but it is not visible. Okay, so let's run the application. Okay, as you can see our status bar is gone, and we cannot see a button over here, and the second, third, and when we move to the last slide or the position 3, our button is appeared. When we change it, our button is gone. So it is not looking perfect. So what we want to do is we want to add some animations to this button, so it looks smoothly coming and gone using animations. So let's do that. Okay, to add the animation, first of all we need to create the animation and go to the NF folder. We already created the animation with side animation and the bottom animation. So we are going to use the bottom animation. You can get the code, link is in the description. So you just have to create a translate from y delta, from x delta and duration. Then alpha is basically for fading effect. So once you have to create the anim folder, go to the resource, right click, new, and create a new directory and name it anim. Make sure it should be small, everything is small inside this resource. And then we have to create, right click, new, and create a new animation resource file. Then you have to paste that code inside it. So it's that simple. So now we are going to use this animation in here. So to use the animation, first of all we need to create a variable, animation type variable, and simply name it animation. And let's go back to where it is. We want to set the animation. So we want to set the animation when it is visible. So first of all, to use the animation, we write animation is equal to animation utils dot load animation, and in here we need to pass where we want to load this, and then r dot go to the anim folder dot we want to use bottom animation. That's it. Okay, we are in the function, so we need to write onboarding dot this. Okay, once we called our animation, then we can set that animation on the button. Let's get started. Dot set animation and pass the animation in it. So let's run it again. Okay, change it to third and fourth. You can see basically we have called the side animation maybe, and you can see it is coming from the side to its current position. So you can change to any animation you want. So currently it is coming from the left side. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add a button over at the top right corner, and we also want to make sure that this little dot should be clickable. So to add the button, go to the design, and in here you can see we have a view pager, but after this view pager we want to create a button with wrap content, and its text will be skip. We have already used this skip button text. Okay, then we want to assign its ID, and the ID will be skip button. Okay, as we are in the constraint layout, so the first thing is go to the design, and where is our button? It is not appearing because it went inside the slider, but we want to make it inside the constraint layout. So place it outside the constraint layout, and here is our button. So to make it at the right side, what we want to do is again go to the split view. Okay, in here search for this button and editor absolute. We want to make it button at the right side. Okay, search for to end of parent and also to top of parent. It's not the start, it's to end of, but constraint end of to end of. Make sure it's constraint end to end of and constraint top to top of its parent. So we have just assigned it over there, and also we want to make it a little lower from the sides. So for that, write padding 10 dp, and also we want to make it transparent, so background will again be the same way, 8 zeros, and the background is gone. So if you want to use an icon like I have used over here, so for that go to drawable, right click new, and click on the vector asset, click on this clip art icon and search for the icon, maybe this one or maybe this one. Click OK and name it skip icon. Click next and click on this finish button. Okay, to add the button, write drawable because I want to add the button at the end, so it's skip icon. So you can see we have that icon with a skip written over there, and it has an ID skip icon drawable end. It's just a warning, and it is saying that drawable end but also use drawable right. Click on this bulb and use the drawable right as well. Okay, the error is gone. So the next thing is what we want to do is, so if user click on this button, what we want to do is we want to jump to our dashboard screen, and also when the user click on this button we want to change the slides. So this says the next button ID and then it is a skip button. Okay, go back to the Java file, and in here in the onCreate method, the one way is we manually write all these functions, and the other way around is close these functions, and after the onCreate we can create a method. It should be public because we want to access it outside the class. Public void skip function, and it should contain a view. Then we need another function which is public void next, and it will also be having a view here. Okay, we have created two functions, skip and next. Go back to the design, and inside the skip we search for onClick, and we have two functions in our suggestion. This one is skip function, and for this one again search for onClick, and this one is the next function. So we simply call these functions from here. Go back to the Java class, and you can see now they are in use. So if the skip button is clicked, we simply write start activity, and in it create a new intent and pass get application context. And where we want to go, we want to go to the user dashboard class dot this. So that's it. We have called this activity, and what is the error? Okay, we need to write the class over here, not this. So we just called the next activity when the user click on the skip button. So for the next button, when the user clicks on the next button, what we want to do is we want to jump to the next screen. So for that we need to have the current position. So to get the current position, write int a variable int current position, and we are going to get this current position from this on page selected. So just initialize here, current position is equal to position. That's it, and jump back over here. When the user click on the next button, what we want to do is we want to move this view pager. So write view pager dot set current item. The current item, as we have declared the variable which is the current position plus 1. So this means just move or just set its current item, which is the current position plus 1. So that's it for the next button and also for the skip button. So let's run our application. Okay, as you can see, we have a skip button at the top, but we are not going to skip it. But when we click on the button at the below, we are changing our activity, and then we are at the last activity, and you can see we have a button appeared, and we also have a skip button. So when we click on the skip button, we have reached to our dashboard. So when I am going to go back, so we are going back to our this activity, but we don't want to do this. So for that we need to use shared preferences. So let's quickly start with the shared preferences. Also, when we are going to call the next activity or going to the user dashboard, make sure you write finish. This will simply destroy the activity and not coming back to this activity. So that's it for this code. Now what we want to do is we want to check if the user is using for the first time or for again and again. So the first thing is we have to call the splash screen at any condition. So when first splash screen will be launched, after 5 seconds it should check that either the user is new. If the user is new, show them onboarding screen. If the user is not new, do not show them and simply jump to the user dashboard. So for that we first have to create the shared preferences variable. It is very simple. So you just have to create a variable at the top of splash screen, shared preferences, and name it shared preferences. Then we need to use this shared preferences inside this new handler. So the first thing is shared preferences is equal to get shared preferences, and inside we have to pass two things. The first one is the name and then its mod. So the name I am going to give to this shared preferences is onboarding screen, and also let me quickly change this variable as well to onboarding screen. So it has no relations with this string, so do not confuse it with this one, but I am just wanted you guys to do not confuse with the shared preference. So this one we can use as many shared preferences we want, but this one we are going to use is specifically for the onboarding screen. That's why I named it like that. And then the mode will be private. Mode private. Okay, that's it. We have just created a variable, you can say a variable or a reference of onboarding screen, which has a mode private and a string is onboarding screen. So in the whole application, when we want to use variables of onboarding screen, the variables we are going to create just in a minute. So we just have to first call the onboarding screen, and then we can use all the variables of this onboarding screen. Okay, first thing we want to check is let's create a boolean, not a string type. Yeah, is first time is equal to onboarding screen dot get boolean, and we are going to name it first time, then make it true. Yeah, that's it. So for the first time, when the user come to our application, the compiler will going to create the shared preferences with the name of onboarding screen, and then it is going to get the boolean of type first time, as we haven't created yet. So obviously there is no variable with the name of first time, so by default it is going to create that first time and set true in it. If there is the variable with the name of first time already inside this onboarding screen shared preferences, then it is not going to set the true, but get the value of that specific boolean and set it inside it in this is first time. So if the user is coming for the first time, so let's say is first time means true. So if this is the first time of the user, we simply want to let the user go to the onboarding screen and start that activity and finish. That's it. And also for the first time, when the user is using for the first time and is gone to the onboarding, so that's it. We don't want to allow the user to watch that onboarding screen again. So for that we are going to use the editor. So write shared preferences dot editor and name it editor is equal to onboarding screen dot edit. We are just letting the shared preferences to edit all its variables, then call editor dot put boolean, and the boolean we are going to assign is same as we are getting. So copy this one and paste it here. So this time it will be false. And do not forget to make editor dot commit. It is just going to commit all the changes just happened here and close it. Then it will simply call this onboarding screen if it is the first time of the user. In the else we want to call if the user is not on the first time, then we simply copy the intent and not going to the onboarding screen but directing user to user dashboard. Okay, so that's it for this code. So let's run the application. Okay, so as you can see, for the first time we have directed to our onboarding screen, and our onboarding screen is working as it should be. Press on the skip button and we are in the dashboard. So when we are going to press the back button, our application simply closes instead of going to the onboarding screen or going to the splash screen. So let's run it again, and this time you can see instead of going to the onboarding screen, as so I am going to log in the second time or going to use the second time, so it is not letting me going back to the onboarding screen, but we are in the dashboard. So that's it for this tutorial and also for the previous tutorial. If you learn something new, please like these tutorials, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. You can also get the code down below in the link. So thank you for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.